Susie Yang was halfway through a 6-year pharmacy program when she decided it was time to revisit a childhood dream of writing. So she did. And the results are, just a debut bestseller that Shonda Rhimes is now turning into a miniseries. This book is about a social climber with a secret. And Susie Yang is joining us this morning with more on how she turned her childhood dream into an unbelievable reality. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Just to clarify on your true life story, you did end up getting your doctorate in pharmacy. You also launched a tech startup in San Francisco teaching people to code. So where did the return to writing fit into all of that? Because a lot of people say, I have a book inside me, but saying it and doing it are two different things.
That's exactly what it was. I thought if I don't try to commit to doing this full time, then I'll never see if I can actually do it. So after I was working on my tech startup for a few years, I gave myself the deadline of 1 year just to finish a draft of the novel. And I did it in secret. I didn't tell anyone about it. And that novel ended up becoming White Ivy.
Susie, I describe books as food because I love both of those things. And this book sounds delicious. Your title character is a Chinese-American immigrant, Ivy Lynn. She is determined to social climb her way into the life that she wants. Tell us more about the premise of White Ivy.
Yeah, so White Ivy tells the story of Ivy Lynn, a Chinese-American immigrant, and we follow her from when she's 14 to 27 as she falls in love with a boy named Gideon Spire, who is the son of a Massachusetts state senator. And essentially the book is Ivy lying and scheming her way into Gideon's heart and into marrying into his very New England patrician family to gain the life of privilege that she's felt has been denied her.
I love all the cultural touch points here. You said when you were writing it, you were inspired by, you were watching Breaking Bad and House of Cards. Some people have compared this to like a modern day telling of the talented Mr. Ripley.
Yeah.
I love all of those touch points. This opens with this great line. Ivy Lynn was a thief, but you would never know it. To look at her. This is a girl who is underestimated because of the way she looks, where she lives, and she's living with this sense of otherness. And she's also her own worst enemy. What are some of the challenges about writing a likable character who sometimes does unlikable things?
I think the biggest challenge is making sure that the reader really understood where Ivy was coming from. Unlike Mr. Tom Ripley, I thought very early on that I didn't want to make Ivy a sociopath. So the challenge was making sure that the readers understood the circumstances that Ivy had grown up in and was there every step along the way toward her darker journey later on in her adult life.
How much of your own story informs the immigrant experience that Ivy Lynn experiences?
For me, it was really what you said, the sense of otherness. Even outside of the Chinese-American background that I also share with Ivy, it was just being the new girl a lot at school and always trying to assimilate myself into a group of peers and observing people and always taking that outsider perspective. And I think I brought a lot of my own perspective into Ivy's story.
There can often be a lot of assumptions made when you are an immigrant child.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody always says, are you Ivy? Did you do these things? I'm not. But at the same time, I do think that her background and the generational struggles with her family, those are all things that are inspired by my own life.
As a testament to both your writing and this incredible story, Shonda Rhimes is now attached to producing this as a miniseries. I mean, for a project that you gave yourself 1 year to do, this is pretty incredible. Tell us about that moment when you found that out.
It was so surreal. It happened in June, and I got the email from my film agent. He said, he had some interest from production companies, and I still remember the moment he had emailed me to say, Shonda is reading your book right now. And that whole evening, I couldn't do anything else other than sit there and think, oh, Shonda's reading my book, Shonda's reading my book. And then, very luckily, the next day she had finished the book and loved it, and we decided to go forward with Shondaland and Netflix.
Susie, is it a surprise to you at all, out of all the paths, so your doctorate of pharmacy or a tech startup in San Fran, writing the book you always wanted to as a child, that it's the book writing that's brought you this biggest success?
Yeah, I mean, when I reflect on it, it feels so much like a detour in certain ways. I've had these 2 other huge chunks of my life devoted to other things, but at heart, I've always been a reader and I've always been a writer. So in a way, it feels like I'm coming back full circle. Kind of the other parts of my life, we're all to really build the courage and conviction to write, to become a writer and tell the world that, I want to be a writer and try to see if I can make it.
Well, you obviously have. I hope you continue to write more, and I haven't even read your first one. The book is called White Ivy. Great to meet you.
Good to meet you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for watching. If you like this, be sure to subscribe here.
And you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.